Hello, everyone. Glad to see you back here at Silver Tears Tarot. And of course, a warm welcome to anyone who is joining us for the very first time. Um, Here we are. We're in the middle of October, and a lot of things have happened since the beginning of the month. And I know that some folks who are in separation have come back together to have a conversation. And I know this because of the conversations that I've had with some of you guys when you've reached out. So I know that things have adjusted for people, not for everyone. I have plenty of conversations with people where they haven't seen much change across the course of this month. But enough things have shifted. It's probably a good idea for us to get in and take another look. So, and the other thing is, I'm glad we decided to get in and take a look at the soulmate story for October because there were some neat things that we saw that were going on in the reading earlier this month. I remember how we had someone sort of coming out from someone else's control. Um, your person was a manifesting machine. Um, I remember that. But they were having trouble with some kind of transformation. And they think you're amazing, but they're afraid of looking forward. I remember that. So as you guys know, these are general readings that I do. It's for all signs. The readings are also timeless. So even though I'm picking this up in our story in the middle of October, that doesn't necessarily mean so if you find it at a different time, that is ideal. That's the right time for you to find it. But if it resonates with you, I would ask you to like and share and subscribe. And then maybe also take a look at some of the more recent videos as well. So we have a soulmate series that's been capturing a lot of the patterns in these relationships. There are a lot of folks going through the same cycle right now, and everyone's just kind of at these different points on the timeline. So if you're just finding me, maybe check out a couple of those recent ones as well. Okay, so soulmates in the rest of October. So we want to know what's coming for our collective in the back half of the month of October. Let's start out by getting the current energy that is flowing between the two of you. Did we just get a single card? No, we didn't. I'll take if it's a single card, but if it's a stack of them, I don't want them. All right, so we have the King of Cups. Well, that's a nice, it's a nice energy. So the King of Cups, one of the things to know about the King of Cups is that it's a very stable, emotionally stable energy. Sometimes a little too emotionally stable, but we'll find out when we clarify. So, oh, and by the way, I'm reading for you from the Wheel of Fortune Tarot, and then I'm going to clarify with the one of the Prisma Visions decks. So we've got the King of Cups, and so this is that emotional stability. It's very warm, but it's not like as warm as the Queen of Cups that just gives you like unending love. This love has its limits. It's controlled. But we'll take a closer look at it. It's also not rejection. So that's the energy that's flowing between the two of you. There's this feeling of kind of trying to keep things stable, or at least trying to keep things looking stable. Maybe you're trying to look stable to the outside world. Maybe you are actually feeling quite stable. So, like I said, we'll see what comes out for that when we clarify. Let's get the energy of, I think what I want to do today, and I'm going to change things up just a little bit. What I'd like to do today is now get the energy of the relationship, the union itself. So this is maybe how the two of you are feeling about it, but it's, Page of Swords in reverse. So the Page of Swords in reverse is kind of it's a card of a message that is having a hard time coming through. So swords are communications and pages bring communications. It could be a communication that isn't coming through, that it's that text that's been written but hasn't been sent. It's that thing that came out wrong. It's got the definite vibe around it of communication. It also has that sense of either it isn't happening or it isn't happening correctly. So we'll put that there. Again, we'll take a look at it. We've got that stable emotional sort of energy going on there. So at least there's that. But let's understand what's happening here with this is, remember, how you guys are feeling about the relationship. So is that how you're feeling about it now? Or is it more of a long term, we never could communicate quite effectively, sort of thing. There's also a youthful element to this. And so it could involve children, but it also seems to involve somebody who has grown a lot or has a lot of growth to do. And if it's somebody that has grown a lot since the beginning of the relationship, they may have built an impression early on in the relationship that the two of you communicate a certain way. And maybe they always felt below you, or they maybe always felt like the other way around, and so it could be that something has changed there that those are just some of the things that are sticking out. And when I'm doing collective readings, it's interesting because a lot of different things can stick out. And I realize those will not exist all in the same situation. So some of them may only apply to a couple of people. You never know. Let's take a look now at how your person sees you, how your person feels about you. Okay, we have two cards that actually came out and want to come out. So, as I explained sometimes, and if it's the first time that you're joining me, then it may be the first time that you're ever seeing how I pull cards. And I usually just pull the top card that comes out. Sometimes I am drawn to pull more than that. This is one of those situations. We kind of had a couple come out together. I wanted that top card and then I wanted the other one. But what's happening here is you give this person strength and you make them feel like they're healed from something that was bothering them or that is bothering them. It could just be a person who has persistent, constant anxiety, and you make them feel better as a result of it. But you give them strength, whatever that situation is. That's what's coming off of these cards. So when you think of how this person feels about you, they almost rely on you, I guess, or they have in the past relied upon you. Let's see what they want. That's what I want to ask over here. What your person wants. Okay, and we have the Eight of Swords. And so with this one, it's really about wanting to get out of the overthinking. So the Eight of Swords is indicative of and representative of overthinking. It has a lot to do with putting yourself in a prison that you have more control over than sometimes you may realize. So this woman, she's standing in this puddle of water. She's not exactly surrounded by these swords, but she's blindfolded, so she doesn't really understand everything that's happening around her. And this is causing her to think a lot of things. She can feel some stuff. She can pick things up. You can see her hair is blowing in the wind. She can probably feel that. But she can't necessarily tell, is there land, how much water is around here? Where do the swords stop? That sort of thing. And so with that blindfold on, there is a lot of overthinking that's happening here. But what your person wants is for that to go away. And that's kind of what comes out for them. So this is being I'm still getting that sense of like an anxiety, like they get anxiety and you calm them. But they're feeling the anxiety, they're feeling the overthinking, they're not feeling the benefit of being with you right now, or all of the benefit of you calming them down the way that they usually experience it. So there is something about that. And what they want is for that to go back. They almost kind of want to go back to the way things were. And I don't know when that would be, but at some point things were ideal. They felt quite safe and strong and confident with you. And I still get that sense like the two of you were very strong together. Let's see what's hidden here. What's that energy that of something that you can't quite see? Queen of Wands. Okay, so this is that Queen of Wands that represents masks and not being completely honest with oneself. But the problem is, I get the sense, and we'll learn more when we clarify, I get the sense that this is like wearing masks within your own mind. So I don't know if it's you or them or maybe both. And it's something that everybody does at, different points in their lives. But somebody, one or both of you, probably has a misinterpretation of the overall situation, but you're wearing a mask, and it's like it's you wouldn't even realize that you're wearing it. It will have to be shown to you. You'll have to have that hangman sort of experience, where you have the new perspective. And I don't know if it's you or them. I kind of feel like it might be both of you that have some reasons to look inside and understand what could be happening there. The next thing I want to look at here is that next step. So it's not how do things turn out. It's that what is likely to happen next. Because we're looking to see what the energy is favorable for to happen next. Of course, we've got people's free will involved, so you never quite know exactly how it's going to turn out. But we can always see which way it looks like things are going. And so this is the Knight of Pentacles. So the Knight of Pentacles is not moving forward very quickly. You'll often hear that this is the slowest knight in the deck. That's absolutely true. But it's also the steadiest knight in the deck. So it's slow forward movement. That's what the Knight of Pentacle represents. So the knights are, if pages are cards of communication because pages bring communications, knights are cards of action. And so it's action, but it's super slow. If you look at the Lightseers deck, you have a person walking with a horse. Like if he wanted to move more quickly, he would probably get on the horse and go forward. In some decks, you'll see that the horse is just standing. It's not moving forward. But it does represent slow, steady forward progress. So let's go ahead and clarify a little bit. I'm curious to understand what the nuances are behind some of these cards. So here's the Prisma Visions deck. Again, there are a ton of these. I only have this one, but I really love it. And I especially love the way these two decks work together. And it's not just that they look cool together, they also feel cool together as a reader. So the King of Cups is where we're going to start. We want to get two cards to clarify the King of Cups. Let's see what's happening with that King of Cups. So we have the Wheel of Fortune that has popped out for us. And I'll hold the cards up for you to see them here in just a second. Is that another single one? Yes. And then we have the King of Pentacles. So let me hold these up for you. So we have the King of Cups, which represents that emotional stability, remember? But we also have a changing situation. So there's going to be change in the environment around this King of Cups. And there's also going to be this King of Pentacles is the feeling that they don't have what it takes, or they're not quite worth it. They're not worthwhile. They haven't got everything together yet. They feel like they're lacking something, or they don't deserve, or that's part of what's holding this person in a sort of energy where they aren't giving all of their love and they're being a little bit reserved with it. They're also, because of all the changes that are happening in the energy, and we felt that, the changes that are happening in the energy around you. And this is your collective energy, remember? So between the two of you, you are generally holding it together and making the appearances, at the very least, of being reasonably emotionally stable. And yet things are swirling and eddying and changing around you. And then you also have this situation of it's almost like self-doubt, but it's really like self-doubt, but I'm generally pretty solid, but this in particular has me doubting myself. That's kind of the situation that I get here. Okay. So it's a little bit complicated, but it makes sense. Let's look now at this Page of Swords and get a couple of clarifiers on this one. And this was the communication that either wasn't coming through or wasn't being sent. And this is the way that you guys are feeling about the relationship. And remember, like I said, it could be a matter of maybe you feel like this is far in the future. You guys have been separated, in separation for 2 years, and you feel like maybe the communication never was that good, but somebody is sitting there and saying, no, no, I've written this person a text and I'm not sending it. So we've got the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, which does suggest the latter. It does suggest the, writing the text or the email and not sending it, because that is a Knight of Pentacles, just like you have over here with that slow and steady movement. But with it being upside down like this in the reverse, that person isn't necessarily moving. Let's see what else is coming out here. And they're very slippery today. These cards are often very slippery, but they don't always quite get me like they do today. Sometimes I wonder if there's something in the humidity or something that changes in the weather, or maybe it's just that I'm more clumsy on some days. But let's get one more clarifier here for the Page of Swords in reverse. Oh, hold on. When a single card falls out, Three of Wands. Okay. Well, Okay. So this one, it's still giving me that same vibe of the text that has been written but not sent. It's an opportunity that's missed. I almost feel like if I was going to pull another card, it would give me the sun in reverse, which gives me that sense of an opportunity missed. But that's like that would almost be like a date that you guys didn't get to go on. This more feels like a communication that isn't coming through. This person has stopped. They're not sending the text. There's a sense of being very much waiting on the other side. So this is like you waiting for their communication, and this is them not sending it right now. And so that's kind of the state of the relationship. And remember, this is how they feel about you. So maybe let's look a little bit more deeply into this because there is this situation where everybody's trying to look pretty steady. There's definitely some doubt in the picture. Things are swirling around you. There's not sufficient communication, but this person gives you strength. So let's clarify the strength card first. There we go. We've got the Fool card. Okay, so something about you actually caused them, you like lent them the strength to come toward you in the first place. That's a super interesting energy that I don't think I've ever gotten off the Fool before. So it's still that same Fool thing where, it's jumping off the cliff, it's trying something new, it's making a leap of faith, but coming associated with that strength card, it is like they became strong enough to move toward you as a result of experiencing you and the fact that you make them feel healed. So those two cards are the Strength and the Four of Swords is working together. But let's clarify on the Four of Swords side now. And that's the side where you make them feel like they're healed from something. I believe when you met this person, they were in the process of healing from something. And maybe that healing was going great or maybe it was going poorly. But either way, okay, so we have the Nine of Swords, which is specifically the card of anxiety. It's the card of being kept up at night. So this is what was happening, and you quelled it. You made them feel so great. They felt like they could reach out toward you. So there definitely has been something kind of positive that has happened there. And maybe that is why some of the folks have actually received communication from their folks in the last couple of weeks. But there's still a sense of not complete communication. And for some of you, there's been no communication. But in a lot of cases, there's a lot of things looking like things are fine. Let's look at what they want. So they want to get rid of some of this overthinking. It's making them very uncomfortable. There's too much anxiety in here. That's one of the things they feel like that. And the thing is, you take their anxiety away, but they also have this really hard time kind of deciding if you also give them anxiety. So we have the Eight of Cups. Okay, and the Eight of Cups. So this is it. This deck is super awesome because if you put all of the cups, the chalices cards together, they will make one big contiguous picture. So if I get any of them that come out that are contiguous, you'll be able to see it. And in fact, you can see a little bit that there's only going to be one card between the Knight of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. That's where the Queen is, and these cards almost fit together. You know, it's really interesting and kind of cool the way that this deck works. But the Eight of Chalices, this is the swirling kind of thing here is it gives you the sense of the great beyond, but it's really all emotions. It's this sense of going into the swirling emotions and actually going after what you want there. So the Eight of Cups is sometimes walking away from something, and that is, you can even see the person that you see them from the back. But it's also a sense of walking towards something. And so this person would like to be able to walk toward the emotion in this situation. And maybe that's something they've not been as easy. It's not as been as easy for them. They haven't been able to access the emotional side as easily, maybe, as you have. I'm looking for another clarifier for the Eight of Swords. Ooh, okay, we're just going to take this top one here. And we have the Page of Wands. Page of Wands in the upright. That's passionate, moving forward. It's also communication. It's they would like to be able to reach out, and to be able to reach out passionately, confidently, not be worrying about how it sounds. Or there's a lot of self-doubt here, but also a lot of anxiety and having a hard time getting over that hump. I see that with the either the communication's not solid, it's not consistent, or they're just not able to communicate at all. Let's take a look at this Queen of Wands, because remember, this was that hidden energy, and it's hidden because you're not in a position to be able to see it. But it was also, it was interesting because when we pulled it, it's that Queen of Wands. It talks about it being like wearing a mask, but it's like wearing a mask that you don't realize. So you're hiding something from yourself. This is hidden energy from yourself. Oh, and your person may be in the same boat. Let's see what comes out to clarify that. So we've got the Four of Wands card about stability. So here, just for fun, I want to show you this because the Three of Wands goes straight into the Four of Wands. And you can see that the backgrounds very much fit together. So if you were to put all the wands together, they would do that in this deck. Neat continuity. Let's get another clarifier for the Queen of Wands here. And that mask, the sensation of the mask. Okay, so the Seven of Chalices, which of course, as we see, matches up to the Eight of Chalices. And that's where the emotion really starts to get going. Because prior to that, it's the Six of Chalices, and you're kind of just thinking back to it. It's nostalgic. But with the Seven of Chalices, you have confusion. You know, you're shifting into a situation of emotion. There's some confusion. There are a lot of different ways you can go. Sometimes this is a card of options. And in this case, sure it is. It's like a crossroads that has a lot of different directions that you could walk. But without knowing yourself, there's something in here about you knowing yourself. It's going to be hard to decide with any real clarity which way you want to go. But there is also one of the things that it seems like stability shouldn't be working against you, but there is something about the stability of this situation, of your overall situation, that seems to be making it feel very safe for you to continue wearing this mask within yourself. And so you don't even realize that you're not seeing this. But it's part of what's going to get you, you know, we should take a closer look at this in the extended reading, because I'm super curious to understand a couple of things. I want to understand a little bit more about how they feel about you. But I also kind of want to understand what it is that you need, because this is, maybe it's both of you, but it's you. And in that case, since you're paying attention, let's find out what you're going to need in order to move, because um, your person wants you guys to be able to move toward this loving and emotional situation. And right now, I even see a blockage to it on your side. So let's see what we can do about understanding what makes up that bridge. But before we do that, we'll take a look at this Knight of Pentacles. So remember, this is your very next step. Okay, this is what you would expect if you just looked at the way the energies are going. And so this is that Knight of Pentacles. It's slow forward movement, slow and steady. It's not stopping like what we see up here with this Knight of Pentacles that's in the reverse. It'll get there eventually. Oh, okay. There's healing that's going to be involved here. And so Five of Pentacles is that sense of pulling yourself out of the cold. All right. This person um, is in a place where they kind of need a material change. And here, this reflects that material change having occurred, but the feeling coming from it is that you have created this change for yourself. Let's see what else. Oh, we got some more that have come out here. And we've got the Empress in reverse. Okay. It's that sense of not feeling like you're ready, not feeling like you're developed. You're not all the way there, which that's okay. That's okay. You need to recognize that it may take you a little bit of time to get there, to get to where you feel comfortable and you have everything in line that you need. Because I think it's about affecting this change, but this is actually coming relatively soon. So I would ask you to kind of think about how you want that future to go and start visualizing it now, because it may be a little bit closer than what you think with this slow energy that has been moving forward. So you might have some new things to think about here. Maybe let's get one more card on that, because it's almost like this person can't send a text, but hold, wait for it, wait for it. Let's see, one more card here to help us clarify. All right. And we have the Magician in reverse. So that is, remember your person in the early October soulmate reading was a manifesting machine who was having a tough time manifesting some sort of transformation. So they still are. Okay. And well, so we have this feeling of you not feeling like you're quite ready. They don't either. There's going to be a lot of stuff between the two of you that could potentially be shared. You could even be feeling each other's anxiety, or feeling some of each other's emotions bouncing off of one another, just because of your connection that's happening on a soul level here, but you're bound for a change here in the material sense. I think it's an interesting situation that's going on here, and I'm glad that we got an update. So we have that stability that's happening here. It appears to be emotional stability. I'm not convinced that it is here, though. In some cases, with this feeling of not quite being able to measure up. That's kind of what that is. And then over here with the Wheel of Fortune, things constantly changing, something's wanting to throw you off your game. Feels like there's a threat to be thrown off your game. And again, with this person having a tough time with their communication, that's the state of your relationship right now. It's a tough time with communication. You've got something that's come to a full stop, and yet you've got a lot of anticipation on the other side because there's been activity in the past. Here is somebody who really did come at you, like they acted very interested in you, and they were like they were borrowing your strength. They were healing from something, and you were lending some of that healing power to them, helping them get past the anxiety that they were feeling, which is what they want. Again, they want to feel like that anxiety is going away for them, but together for you to go into a place of emotion and to be able to move forward with passionate communications, not this broken, difficult communication, like they're having a hard time with it, but it is coming from within both of you. And so that's where I want to start, maybe by looking in the extended reading, because I want to understand you've got this mask that you're wearing that even you aren't able to see past. Um, your situation of mental stability that we're seeing up here is part of what's helping that mask to stay intact. But it's creating some confusions here. And I'm just wondering, especially with this sense of expectation, feels like a little bit of distraction. And it may be hard to walk forward into this emotional place because of this that's happening here internally within both of you. But again, I think we'll take a closer look at this one. So, what is it that we need to have you know in order to get across this bridge? We also want to understand a little bit better how they feel about you, because I understand the protection aspect and I'm seeing that, a lot of that. But, like, tell us more. I would like to understand more about that. I would also like to understand maybe a little bit more about what's happening here. So, we have in the future that there is going to be a slow and steady progression. That it feels like to me, both of you are going to feel like you're not worth it. Both of you are going to feel, and this is your person's energy that's sticking out the most in this card, but it's not just them. It's that feeling of feeling like your hands are tied. You can't just do whatever it is that you need to do, want to do going forward. And even if you could, maybe you're not quite ready for it. So there's something about this that's moving very slowly, but it also is hinging upon this moving yourself into a better place. It's about confronting maybe a little bit of some of that abandonment, or betrayal, injury that has occurred. There's a very strong Nine of Wands feeling that is almost like this card was sitting next to it in the deck or something, but it's that feeling of this has been a long difficult time, and I need to make things better. I need to bring myself in from out in the cold and create that change that I need. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there. If you'd like to follow me over into the extended, please do so. Otherwise, if this resonated with you, please like, share, subscribe. If you want to go to the extended, the link is down below, and I'll see you there. Otherwise, I will see you in the next reading.